All right, we're back and we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you are logging on, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. Welcome. Yes, say hello when you log on. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. There won't be any screen sharing tonight, so any one of these is fine. My phone is very close to dying, so I might have to flip over and unplug my mic for a minute. We'll see. Welcome. What's up? Yes, when you get on here, feel free to say hello. I do think that the experience as far as watching this is concerned is a little bit better over on YouTube. You get to see all the comments coming in and all of that. Also, we have my Sean's Couture Cuties website right here with QR code. That's where you got to go when you want to work with me. So scan this QR code if you're interested in coming and working with me. I do, like I said, posing, hair and makeup, suits, all of the fun stuff, right? And yeah, we have a lot of things coming up. Those of you that are unfamiliar with what we do, we have CCTS coming up soon again. So be watching. That stuff's going to start rolling pretty quickly. We've got quite a few things we've been working on in the background that's going to be coming out. Shows. All right. So who's doing Universe? The next show that we'll be at is NPC Universe. That's the next one. Then we've got Masters Nationals. So chime in if you're going to do either one of those. Then we've got the Clash of the Titans, end of Cheekbones looking high. Thank you. I didn't do anything different, but thank you. I'm leaning out already, but thank you. I've actually done Sculptra on my face to fill my face out. So it shouldn't be looking, my cheekbones shouldn't be looking high. Oh, God. So with that, actually, let's go into that. So let me rattle off the rest of these shows real quick. So going through the rest of the summer, we have Universe. So if you need hair and makeup, we were doing hair and makeup at NPC Universe. We're doing hair and makeup at Masters Nationals. Then we have Clash of the Titans at the end of the month. Then we have the Tampa Pro. Then we have Nashville Fit Show. And then we have North Americans. That gets us into September. Okay. So if you need hair and makeup services for those shows, or you need to work with me on posing for those shows, I also pose my clients in person at the shows. So if that's something you'd like to do, we can do that as well. Even if you're not competing in the show and you're going to be there, hit me up and we can set up a posing session. Okay. All right. So now that we did that, one thing I'm going to talk about this evening is like what was just mentioned with the cheekbones looking especially high today. I have entered into a partnership with Virginia Surgical Institute. So for those of you that were at CCTS this past year, they were one of our sponsors there. They do everything from, definitely hit me up in Tampa. Absolutely. 100% would be happy to help you and pose you and stuff in person. And we got a long time for Tampa too. I mean, that's a long show with the Masters ladies being on Thursday. So plenty of time to do some posing sessions for sure. Yes. So I'm partnering with Virginia Surgical Institute. So they do everything from, breast augmentations and things like that, all the way to all of your facial stuff. I've been going to them since January to do my Botox, my fillers, my Sculptra, all of that stuff. So if you are interested in working with them, y'all can get a discount with me. So it's Sean 10, and all you got to do is call them. They don't have an online booking system. So what I'm going to do when we finish up here is I'll go ahead and put their information into the description box so you can give them a call. They're incredible. They're honest too. So here's a good story because I went in, 2 months ago now at this point, wanting to get everything touched up and done, right? I got to look good in person too, right? So I was like, I want filler under my eyes, and I want to just get my Botox done and everything like that. So I also asked, do I need to do filler in my lips? Because I haven't done filler for over a year now. It's been over a year since I've done filler in my lips. And she straight up told me no. If I was to do filler in my lips, it was going to be too much. It would make my face look disproportionate. So these are my lips. The last time I had filler done was May last year. So it's been over a year. Well, the one thing with my cheekbones that I'll say is I have gotten filler done underneath my eyes. This is brand new. I didn't do this before. This is the first time I've done this. So The filler underneath your eyes helps to get rid of any dark circles, and like if you have sunken in here, that kind of thing. So I did do that, and as I'm doing it, I'm like touching my face and like smudging my makeup. But anyway, so I got filler done underneath here, because what I was finding was that even when I was putting my concealer on, I have lost so much volume in my face. And this has really been the last 6 to 7 months or so that I've noticed this. I've lost so much volume in my face that my eyes just look sunken in, and I look like I'm tired all the time. So I did get filler done underneath the eyes for the first time, and it made a huge difference, like immediately. Like even when I don't wear makeup, I look like I have gotten sleep. I was looking like I wasn't sleeping is what I was looking like 24/7. So they did just enough so that you don't look like, again, you don't look like you're sleep deprived, basically. So what they do with that is they kind of fill in all of this. So that could be going into what you're saying as far as cheekbones. That could actually make my cheekbones look a little bit higher, that kind of thing. But it really, what it does is it just gets rid of those dark circles underneath your eyes. And of all of the different fillers and stuff that I've done, that has been probably the most immediate change that I saw. Yeah, the pain was non-existent. I think the most painful filler that I've gotten has been my lips. It's not so much the lips on the upper lip, it's the lower lip, because when they fill the lower lip, they can't numb it. They can't numb the inside of your lip. So the most painful filler that I have gotten has been my lips. I've gotten filler here as well, which pulls up. It's called the liquid facelift. And that I haven't gotten done. Gosh, it's been a year and a half. It's been at least a year and a half since I've gotten that done. And depending on the filler and depending on your metabolism and depending on where you're getting it done, it can last anywhere from 6 months to 2 years when you're getting this filler done, right? So this liquid facelift, I haven't had to have redone. What the liquid facelift does is, again, it's filler right here. So it basically takes your face and just pulls everything up, right? So it's not cheek filler. It's not making you round here. It's pulling up. So again, I haven't done that in almost 2 years at this point. Almost. I want to say it's probably been about 18 months or so. And I haven't needed to do that. And then the most recent thing that I've done is Sculptra, which I've talked about that a little bit. And what Sculptra does is it's actually not a filler. It is a filler, but it's not. Your body metabolizes it. And what it does is it makes your own body produce more collagen in the areas that it gets injected into. So then once the Sculptra dissolves, what's left is your own collagen. So it fills you out like a filler, but doesn't look artificial like a filler. So this particular treatment you can use all the way up into like your 50s when your body is still producing collagen. The older that you get, the harder it is for this particular treatment to work. But when you're younger, under the, usually I would say probably early 50s and so down, start doing that, because again, it's your own body producing the collagen that replaces the filler. So it's not an actual foreign substance. So your body kind of attacks it as if it's a foreign substance and creates the collagen in those areas. And it metabolizes it out of your system. So then what happens is when you get finished with all of that, you just have a really natural looking look. And until you actually need filler, that's a great way to go. Right. So that's the most recent thing that I did. I just got that touched up 2 weeks ago. I've done 2 vials of it. I'll probably do more in a few months. But what that did for me is it really smoothed out my smile lines. Now, I still have a little bit, but not nearly what I had before. And I think there's a fine balance here, guys. Like this is when we're talking about stuff that we do to our face and stuff like that, there is a difference between putting in fillers to try to make yourself look like somebody else and putting in fillers and things like that to maintain your youth, right? So I am 41 years old. It's not like I'm a spring chicken. And the more that you do to your face, the older you end up looking, right? So all of the things that I do are pretty conservative. And it's really just to replace what I've been losing through the aging process. And then also with us being competitors, we tend to metabolize things a lot faster. We tend to lose the fat in our face a lot faster. Those kinds of things go a lot faster because we are dieting all the time, that kind of thing. So we do have to take extra special care of that. The more that you take care of that, the younger you will look for the longer period of time. One of the things they talk about with Botox is that a good Botox job is when you can still move, like I can still move my forehead, but when I'm not moving my forehead, I don't have lines, right? If you can't move your forehead, if you have no expression, then you have too much Botox, right? So I used to be that person. I used to be like the frozen Botox look. But a good Botox job is you can move, but then when you stop moving, you don't see wrinkles, right? So I'll go get more Botox done and stuff when I start seeing wrinkles come back. Not until then. Movement is okay, wrinkles is not. So again, these little things, because even when you're 16 years old, you're going to have, movement in your forehead. You're going to have that wrinkling and stuff like that. It's just a matter of it staying or not. You know what I mean? So these are the things to understand. And these are the things to know, like when you go to a good practitioner, they're going to tell you, like I said, I asked her, I said, should I get more lips done? She said, no, if you do more lips, you're going to look funky, right? You're going to look like your lips are out of proportion from your face. She's like, and that's not what we want. We want your face to look in proportion. So again, going back to when you get with an actual doctor, whoever it is you're going to be working with, make sure that they know their stuff. And they they definitely do. They're definitely taking great care of me when I go in there. It's so funny because sometimes I've gone into other offices and things like that, and I'm in and out in like 10 minutes. Whenever I go to the Virginia Surgical Institute, I'm there for at least an hour, because they're doing something. I've done facials there, I've done all sorts of stuff like that there too. But every time that I've gotten a procedure done, it takes a long time because they really take their time. They make sure that you're super numb, like you were asking about the filler and stuff like that. I have had no pain. I have this condition, I can't remember the name of it, but I get nauseous when needles come near me. For some of you, you actually saw this. I was getting Botox, or no, I'm sorry, I was getting filler done. I was getting filler done at one of my seminars that I did. I was the guinea pig in front of everybody, and I passed out in front of everybody. I don't remember what it's called exactly. Somebody can put it into the comments what it's called. But that's something that it's a genetic thing. It's like when the needle comes, and it's not even the fact that the needle, it's not the pain, it's not any of those things. For me, it's the sound that I hear, like the filler going into my skin. Like, because I hear that sound, it makes me get faint. So that actually happened when I was in with Dr. V a couple months ago. I was like, I do this sometimes. And she's like, okay, we're just gonna lay you down. We're gonna wait. Just lay here for like 20 minutes and then we'll keep going. So I was there for a long time that particular time because I didn't want to pass out. But anyway, so beyond that, just taking good care of your skin and stuff like that is really important. Retinol, Retin-A, all of that kind of stuff. And, if we're competitors, you can hear it. Like, so for people that have had filler done before, you probably, or even Botox, I more hear it with the filler because you can hear it kind of expanding in your skin. It's a weird, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it's a really weird sound that goes along with the feeling. It's not a pain because you're numb, so you don't feel pain. It's just weird. And you know that a foreign substance is going into your body, right? So yeah, it crackles. Yeah, absolutely. It does. Yes. And it's a weird feeling. So like some doctors will use like distractors. A distractor is like a vibrator. So they'll put like a vibrator on your face over here if they're injecting you over here. And yeah, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but you're right. It's like something like you can hear it going into the skin, poking. You hear the needle pop into the skin, and you can feel it and hear it expand inside the skin. So it's just weird. It's really weird. So yeah, sounds like stretching and cackles. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Crackles. Yep. 100%. So it's one of those things that until you've done it, you don't know. And then once you do, you get it. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's one of those things that like, it actually makes me a little faint. Yeah. What I was talking. Oh yeah. So regular skincare, vitamins, drinking your water, it's a big deal. All of that. I use retinol on my skin. That's really, really important. I have, we talked about this like a month or so ago. I had a really bad hormonal breakout, and since then my skin has completely cleared up since then. So I'm really happy about that. I still have a few marks left over, but those will fade, and the retinol helps with that too. So just make sure that you're staying on top of that. What happened to me before when I got Botox for migraines? I used to lay down about 20 minutes before they could finish. I got all pale and sweaty. Yeah, that's the same thing that happens to me. Yep. So, Retin-A works so well. It really does. There's different strengths The great thing about it now is that you can get it at the drugstore. You know what I mean? So if you need something stronger, you can get prescription for it. I haven't had to do that yet, thankfully. You know, the antibiotics that I took like this last month cleared up the skin problem that I had. So hopefully that won't happen again. And I won't have to go through the digestive problem again and all of that. So, but all of those things matter and make a difference. You know, I also do red light therapy. That's also something that's helpful for skin. I have a red bed. It's not a red bed. It's a lamp. It's a big thing. What do you call it? I don't know what you call it, but it's on my wall. Panel. That's the word I'm looking for. I have a red light panel that I use too. Virginia Institute got me started at tretinoin. Yeah. Yep. Tretinoin is same situation as retinol, Retin-A, all that same thing. Yep. That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. Yep. It makes a big difference. But those are all the things that you should be doing to take care of your skin, right? There's so many great medical advances now, and there's more and more and more coming. You know, one of them is the Morpheus 8, which helps with skin tightening. That's huge for your face, your neck, your stomach, your glutes. That it can work on the entire body. It's an expensive treatment, but you know, if you're looking for something that can help you to tighten your skin, look into Morpheus 8. That could be a game changer for some of you ladies. I know I've talked to some of you ladies about that as well. And when you go to get this stuff done, yeah, there you go. We got it. Vasovagal. Yeah, there you go. Got it. That's the word. I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah, it's happened to me since I was a kid. It's happened to me since I was a kid doing the IVs. Yep. I remember when I went in to get my, my physical done, they went to put the IV in my arm, and I passed out during this kind of thing before. Like when they prick your finger, I'd passed out during them pricking my finger when I was a kid. So anytime I went to go in and get blood drawn, I would freak out. So I specifically remember this one time where they went to take the blood out of me, and they had 5 nurses holding me down. I was only like, I don't know, 7 years old or something like that. And I was beating them off with my freaking feet and my arms. I was like, get off me. They had to have 5 people hold me down in order to take my blood. I was a strong little shit. But anyway, back to skincare, right? So yeah, facials, all those kinds of things, they really help, you know, and what is most important above all else is going to be your nutrition and water. All of that is going to really help. Don't go to bed with makeup on. Always wash your face. That's huge. I use silk sheets. Make sure if you're using silk sheets and pillowcases that you're washing them at least once a week, because they get full of bacteria. They're great for your skin and your hair, but they get full of bacteria. So make sure that you're washing them a lot. All those things. But anyway, going back to, if you want to go to Virginia Institute, give them a call for your appointment and tell them that I sent you. And then you get 10% off as your first time in, whatever you do, right? Which could be a lot depending on what you do. Because I go in there and I spend a lot of money every time I go in. I'm like, my face is my brand, you guys. I've got to look good. It's like, that's the bottom line. My brand revolves around this. It's got to look good. You guys got to recognize me when you see me in person, right? So with that was a long explanation, but if you guys have any questions about skincare or any of their services or anything like that, feel free to reach out. Okay, so moving on, we are going into tonight's topic of prep. Yeah, I said prep. We're there. We're in prep now, guys. We're in prep. Dun, dun, dun. So for those of you that have not been on here for Thursday Night Live, we talk about, hey, that sounded like Saturday Night Live. I just realized that. Anyway, Thursday Night Live, we talk about prep, off-season, all of that. This whole time that we've been doing this, we've been talking about off-season. Well, your girl's going into prep right now, as of today. Yep, that's it. So with that, it is going to be a long prep, very slow burn. I probably need to come down about 18 pounds, so it's going to take me a while. And, you know, like I mentioned last week, we picked out a show, which is Hawaii and then Japan. So Hawaii is 22 weeks out. So I got a while, but that's not a long time when we're talking about 18 pounds, right? Are you looking at Morpheus? Yeah, look into Morpheus 8, Ashley. Definitely look into it. See if it's something that could help you. It might. It might. So yeah, so here's the thing, guys. I am on a lot of food. Not a lot of cardio. This past week was kind of all over the place. I took 2 days off from lifting just by accident because of the DC Pro-Am. And then on Sunday, I trained twice because I trained before the photo shoot and I trained during the photo shoot. So I made up for it. and then I missed cardio twice. So I only did cardio once this whole past week. And then when I went and did my check-ins this week, I looked better this week than I did last week. So all right, cool. Awesome. But what that tells me is that even though I didn't do my typical activity and my body didn't gain weight, that I'm in a really good spot. So all we're doing right now, as far as changes are concerned, is we're going to start carb cycling a little bit. So I'm going to have a few carb high days and a few lower days. And when we're talking higher and lower, I'm on 300 grams of carbs a day right now. So those are my high days, and my low days will be 250. So it's really not a huge swing. And then my fats do change too. So when I'm on the 300 carbs, it's going to be 65 grams of fat. And when I'm on the 250 grams of carbs, it's going to be 75 grams of fat. So it's really not a big change in the caloric output. And again, this is why we're taking a long time. I want to see what my body does and how it responds as we go forward. I feel like I'm nice and full and round right now, which is great. And I don't want to lose that immediately because I know myself, my body tends to lean out really fast. The last few pounds are always the hardest part, under the glutes, those kinds of things. Those are always the hardest part, but I tend to drop the majority of my size right away. That didn't happen last year. I will say that didn't happen last year. It took a while. So we'll see. I feel like I'm in kind of a better spot this year. I've got much more muscle mass. I've kept a much better shape and conditioning this year. I've literally been off season exactly a year because I did the Dallas Pro last year, and I was looking at my pictures, and legitimately I was getting on stage in 2 days at Dallas Pro. So I've legitimately been off stage exactly a year. So I've been off season exactly a year. And now we're starting to cut down again. So, the whole goal here is to retain as much size as possible, even maybe still put on some size as we start to cut, because again, I am in a very big caloric surplus right now. And I'm not gaining technically I'm not a big caloric surplus. I have a lot of calories. It's not a caloric surplus because I have a lot of calories, but I have a lot of things to work with right now, right? I have a lot of calories. I'm 2,500 or more calories per day. Only 3 sessions of missed cardio 3 times a week. That's 15 minutes 3 times a week. That's it. And then my training 6 days a week. So we are in a very good spot. I mean, my heart rate spikes more during my training than it does during my cardio right now. The cardio I think is more so just to get like my steps in, that kind of thing. I get a little bit of a burn there, but not a lot. So we have a lot of room to play with when it comes to trying to start peeling off the fat. And again, my concern, we talked about this a little bit last week. My concern with going too fast is losing muscle mass and also skin elasticity, right? So going back to what we just started talking about, this live feed was the skin issue, right? Again, I'm 41 years old. We talked about this last week. Skin elasticity is not as good right now as what it was when I was in my 20s, right? So I want to go really, really slow so that is not an issue, so that my skin has the ability to kind of mold with me as I go. I feel like that could be one thing that could end up being a detriment, especially if I go too fast. So keep that kind of thing in mind. And I also want to throw this out to you guys too. I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm going to go into my explanation of it as well. Have you ever gone into a prep and been concerned that you're even going to look any different when you get to the end of it? I made a post about this today, right? Where you take a long off season and you hope and you pray that when you go into prep again, that you're going to look better when you get to the end of it and you're going to look better on stage, right? But you don't really know. You don't really know. How many of you guys have done that? I know I have a lot of times. Last year was a great example because I came from, doing pageants and stuff like that where I had actively stripped off a ton of muscle and actively made myself skinnier to building size. And I hadn't built enough last year. I hadn't built enough. That's me this year. Yeah. I hadn't built enough last year, and I knew that I hadn't built enough. I was hoping that maybe I had, but I kind of knew. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, coming back last year, I can understand that. I took time off. Yep. Yeah. That's always my concern. Like I want to come back out on stage, and I want to be in better shape. I want to look better. And it's hard sometimes. It's hard when you first start out in a prep to know if that's the situation or not. So if you saw my post today, one of the things that I've really been very diligent about I've been very, very anal about my photos and about tracking my food and tracking my weight and my composition and my measurements and all those things. I've been super, super anal about everything. My photos are like, I try to make my photos as exact as possible every single week. You know what I mean? Because I really feel like you can see the most through photos. My measurements don't change a lot. Even my weight, it creeps up little by little. It doesn't change a lot, So this is your first program, you look competitive. Yeah. It's a common thing. Like we're just, sometimes you're in off season, you're like, did I even do anything? Did I even grow anything? Right. So my whole goal this past off season was to keep my body composition in a good place where I felt like I was still tight all the time. Even with adding weight, you can still stay relatively good condition. Like I can still see my abs, my stomach's flat. I've got veins through my shoulders and through my biceps, things like that. I can still see my glute hamstring tie-ins. I can still see all those things. Yes, I have a layer of body fat over top of me, but I still have really good muscle definition, which I can say that I've never had that in the past, right? This is the first year where I felt like I've had that my entire season. And I have people when I go to the gym now who are like, you're in prep, right? You're in prep. And I'm like, no, I'm not in prep. Not in prep. Not yet. Right. I'm the heaviest I've been in a very, very long time, actually. So, I've been off stage and through so much for 2 years. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't know if you feel like this, Kelby. I was going to mention this because you and I are built kind of similarly in this regard where your upper body always looks like you're in shape. My upper body always looks like I'm in shape. I've always got shoulders. I've always got biceps. I've always got, I've got some decent muscle tone on my upper body all the time. It's my lower body that doesn't look like that. I actually look pretty skinny on my lower body most of the time. Like I look at girls like Urishna and stuff like that. I'm like, my legs don't even come close to that. You know what I mean? So my legs are always where I have the issue. But I also feel like my stomach, like if I can keep my stomach in line and I keep my core tight, then I feel like the rest of me is in pretty good shape. And I've been able to do that quite well this off season, actually. So I still have abs all the time. I've put out a ton of photos. I mean, I still have abs and I'm heaviest I've been, you know what I mean? Yeah. So true. Right. Thank you. I hope that I look good for off season improvement season because I've really tried hard. I haven't fucked off at all. I check in and I'm very consistent. I won't say that I'm 100%. I'd say I'm probably 95% the majority of the time. I might miss a meal or something like that here and there, but I'm pretty much on all the time. And I have been all year, I even was before. I was last year and stuff like that too. But I would say that this is the first time that I came from a really good spot, like a starting spot for my improvement season. And I was able to keep that conditioning well as I went along. Right. So, that to me, when I look back at my photos from 2 years ago and I see where I was 2 years ago with my check-ins, I'm like, okay, I'm going to look better this year. Now, whether that translates to a good placing on stage or not, I don't know. I can't control that. None of us can control our placings. None of us can control that. But what I hope it translates to is a look that's better and more competitive. That's what I want. That's what I'm shooting for. I always say all the time that if you don't put it out into the universe, you can't get it. So I definitely want to get a top 5. That is my goal. I've said this, last year I told everybody I wanted to qualify for Olympia. That's still a goal. It's still a goal. However, I think you need to make baby step goals, right? So my ultimate goal still is I want to qualify for the Olympia, and I do think it's 100% possible. But you need to have goals in between that. And last year, my goal was just to get on stage and look like I fit, which I did. I felt like I was like, okay, I still have improvements to make. Don't get me wrong. I've got to grow some size, that kind of thing. I get it. But my shape fit. That was my goal. I hadn't been on stage for 4 years. I wanted to make sure that my shape even worked still. If my shape worked, cool. Then we can move forward. And it did. And I was happy with that for last year. This year, my goal is I want a top 5. I want a top 5 in one of the 2 shows that I'm doing. So that's what I'm going for. I mentioned this before. I got it in Hawaii in 2017. I got first call out. So that is as close as I've gotten. I got real close to that top 5. That's the first I've gotten, or closest I've gotten to a top 5 was there in Hawaii. So we'll see. Maybe that's a good sign and a good omen for me, but that's what we're looking for going forward, or what I'm looking for as far as a goal is concerned. What about you guys? Type in and tell me, what are your goals for maybe this season, if you're competing this season, or what are your goals going into your improvement season? Maybe go ahead and type in, just put it out there to universe. Like I said, if you don't put it out there, you're not going to get it, period. Right? It's just not going to happen if you don't say it. So you need to put the goal out there and manifest it. Right? We talked about this with Jessica Wilson. She puts it out into the universe, what she wants, and she went after it, and she got her Olympia qualification. She got her Masters Olympia qualification. I know now she wants to win the Masters Olympia. She said that on her interview with me. That is what she wants, right? And it's 100% doable. It is 100% doable. So to look like and belong on a pro stage, yeah. That was my goal last year. Yep. To not bomb my pro debut. You're not going to bomb, first of all, Brandy. You should have a higher goal than that. Here's the first thing, guys. Pro debuts, you never bomb a pro debut, ever. I don't care who you are. Even if it's your worst package ever, you don't bomb it because it is your first pro show. So many people put too much pressure on that first show, right? Just go into it and have fun because it is your pro debut. Enjoy it. You only get one, right? I'm going to grow my glutes. Yes. My goal is to step on stage, win the overall at my regional show. There you go. Wishing for my pro card. Goal this year. Goal is to fit on the NPC stage. Actually be competitive. Yep. I'd like to get back on stage again with something worth seeing, undeniable. I'll tell my gym staff my goal was top 5 placing. There you go. Yeah. You 100% should do that. I'm going to flip out these plugs real quick because I'm going to lose my phone if I do it out. We're probably gonna let me know if you can still hear me. Okay. There we go. Is the audio still okay? I just had to flip out or else I'm gonna lose my phone for Instagram here. I stepped stage this year. It'll be 2 years since my last time. I placed just outside of the top 5 then. So the goal is definitely to place top 5 this time. There you go. Perfect. I'm gonna get on stage this year and stop sabotaging myself. There you go. Yep. Definitely going to be coming in hot, Kelby. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Yes, for audio. Okay, awesome. Cool. Yeah. I know that the computer audio isn't as great as the Yeti audio, but otherwise I'm going to lose my phone for Instagram over here if I don't plug it in. So what else? What other goals do we have? And by the way, there's no goal that's stupid, and there's no goal that is too big. And there's also no goal that's too small either. Whatever your reason is, whatever your goal is, that's good. It's a good thing. So that's yours. It's personal. A lot of people go into this. We talk about the pros a lot here. We review shows and preview shows and things like that. But the reality of it is the majority of people out there are never going to step foot on a pro stage, nor do they even want to in a lot of situations. A lot of the times it's just about doing something for themselves and they're better themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? I already bought me a cutie suit like 2 years ago. Yeah, I got to use it, man. Got to use it. Right? Yep. There is nothing wrong with having your own individual goal, and here's the thing too, guys. Pro card is not going to change your life. Okay. Pro card is just another thing that you stick in your wallet. It's not the title that does anything for you. It's what you do with the title. Okay. By most people's standards, I am not a successful IFBB pro. I have never gotten a top 5 placing. Like I just said, my best was I got a first call out once. But I would venture to argue I'm one of the more successful bikini pros in our industry because of what I do behind the scenes, not for what I do on stage. There are lots of ways to make an impact in this sport. There are lots of ways to find fulfillment in this sport that do not include winning a show. It's just the truth. You don't have to have a pro card in order to make an impact on people. You don't have to have a pro card in order to achieve your goals. Right? Yeah, she's still top notch. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's the thing. Like, that's my point. My point is that I found myself a niche. I feel like where I thrive, and I was just talking to my husband about this today. I feel like where I thrive more than anything else is doing this. I really do. Through the commentary, through teaching about the sport. That's really where I feel like I make my mark. I feel like I make my mark through teaching. Even more so than anything else. More so than anything else. More so than anything I do on stage. More so than anything I do backstage. I think when I teach about the sport, talk about the sport, that's where I actually make an impact. And it's something that, again, nobody else does. Got a few people out there that do stuff like this, that do their little commentaries and stuff like that. And that's cool. I love it. I think it's great. But we all have our own little unique vibe, our own little unique take on what we do. Right. And I really think this is my calling right here. Really do. So, so many people value for teaching. Yeah, it's amazing to me because, I watch the statistics, the algorithm, or that's not the word, engagement, all of that for these videos and for Spotify and things like that. I watch all that stuff, and it's amazing to me how many people actually do watch it sometimes. Like, I sit back and I'm like, oh, okay. Because they'll come find me at shows and tell me, this helped or that helped, or they'll send me a quick DM or whatever. And, it's not about me reaching millions of people with this. It's about me reaching the right people with this, the ones that need the help, right? There's a difference. This sport is never going to be enormous like an NFL or something like that. It's just never going to be that. But that's okay. I talked about this particular quote with Jessica Wilson again. It's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the Johnnies and the Joes. So basically what that means is it's not about the wins and the losses. It's about the people that you impact along the way, right? It's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the Johnnies and the Joes. So connect with even deeper with your audience. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely agree with that, Kelby. Yes, 100%. I wish they would hire you more to do commentary on the shows. Me too. I would love to do more shows, guys. I would love to. I've said this before. I think that that's a big area that a lot of promoters are missing out on. Because I think if we were able to educate the general public about this sport more, we would have more interest. For somebody who's not involved in the sport, it seems so nuanced. It's so hard to understand. It is so hard to understand. I mean, that's why you go and when you watch figure skating, they've got people on commentary for figure skating. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at when I'm watching figure skating, but it's one of the more popular sports in the Winter Olympics because we sit there and we watch and we listen to the commentators telling us what a triple axel is and all this stuff and all that stuff that we don't actually know what's going on. The commentators explain why this happened, right? It's the same thing with our sport. We need more of it. So that the general public can be like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense.
I get it now. I understand why that guy won or this girl won. I understand why they picked this color shorts versus that color. I understand why the tan makes a difference here. All those things make a difference in the general public and populace understanding what this sport is. The best thing I can do is be on YouTube. That's the best thing I can do. So also your engagement and your accessibility to an extent. It's amazing how many people are surprised when people comment or DM back. So I love that you actually talk to us. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's why I encourage you when you guys come on these live streams to comment in. That's the whole point behind this. I want questions. I want to be able to answer those. I do it quite a bit in like forums and stuff like that on Reddit, on Facebook. I try to get involved in those kind of things. But I understand that a lot of times stuff is lost in translation when you don't hear voice inflections and stuff like that. I can be kind of sarcastic sometimes, and you can't read sarcasm in comments. So sometimes I just sound like a bitch when in reality, I'm just trying to make a joke. You know what I mean? So it's a whole lot easier for me to answer questions and stuff when people are actually here and talking and engaged with me, right? Because I can actually answer it a whole lot better. I'm that person that I'll shoot off a text or an email real quick, and then I'll go back and I'll look at it, and I'm like, man, I sounded like a real bitch. Like, I'm terrible. I've gotten better at that. But I see sometimes I'm just trying to get an answer out, and it just ends up coming across really gruff. So I actually really appreciate talking to people. Like you said, DMing back. I try to DM, but also I'd rather talk to you. Talking just eliminates a lot of those communication misinterpretations and things like that, right? So me coming on here, 3 nights a week helps me do that. And then when I see you in person at shows, I can sit down and I can talk to you. When you get feedback from judges, I'll stand off in the corner, listen to your feedback, and then when you come see me, I'll explain it to you. This happened with Annalise this past weekend. She went up to Tyler to get feedback. I stood off to the side and listened to it so that when she got finished, I could explain what he was saying to her, that kind of thing. So that's, again, I think that's kind of where I fit the best, right? So anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent. My point being that you don't have to win shows in order to be successful in this industry. You don't have to place high. So that doesn't have to be your goal. You can have a goal that's completely outside of placements. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, tomorrow, after your show's over, nobody's going to remember. Nobody's going to remember who won that overall. Nobody's going to remember who came in last. They don't remember. The only person that remembers is you. So make sure it's a good impact that you're leaving when you leave that stage, right? So to tie this all back in together, this is a long rant of a live feed, but that's okay. That's what these ones are about. That's why I like the Thursdays, because they just kind of go on their own little flow and their own little pathway. Going into official prep as of right now, just doing small carb cycle just to see how my body responds to it. Everything else is staying the same. Training, everything's staying the same. And then we'll kind of take it week by week and see how my body's going. But I got to come down probably about 18 pounds. Probably. I don't think I'll be much bigger than that on stage. That'll put me at about 139-ish. I think I need to be right underneath 140. And I think that will be about right. Last year, I felt like I could be better conditioned, but I also needed more muscle. And I was just under 140. I was like 138, 139, depending on the show. And so I think I'll probably land in that same spot with just an improved physique, more muscle this time, and I'll be leaner. Hopefully, that's the goal. That's the goal with the look. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been eating a lot of food for a long time, and I don't need it anymore. So I'm looking forward to peeling some of it off. I'm good with that. I don't have to force feed myself anymore, and we'll move forward from here. So with that, guys, that's going to wrap up our evening tonight. So like I said, if you want to come work with me, my website right here, this is SeansCoutureCuties.com. You can find my hair and makeup bookings there. You can find posing. You can find suits. You can find everything that we do right here on this website. Miss you too, Valerie. I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm glad you were able to come on the live stream tonight. So check out the website if you'd like to work with me. We've got lots of shows coming up with bookings. And like I said, if I'm at a show for hair and makeup too, you can book me for posing as well in person too. So always an option. Absolutely. What else? What am I forgetting? Our next show is Universe. I think that's everything. I think that's everything for tonight. So we'll be back again next week. After this weekend shows, we'll do a wrap up on Tuesday. And then we'll move into the new week. I have plenty of clients this coming weekend. And then on the 25th is our next Sundays with Sean. So if you haven't signed up with that, that's our next group session right before Universe. Let's rock and roll forward. All right. Hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you Tuesday. Good night, you guys.